What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today we're going over Survivor Season 44, episode number 10. And this was a pretty good one. There was a little bit of chaos towards the end on where the vote was going to go. But it really ended up feeling like a very entertaining episode overall. Let's start off right at the top. We had the fallout from the Kane vote where Frannie actually felt very left out of that vote. Nobody kind of filled her in on what was going on. Carson, meanwhile, wasn't. Was very happy to say that he wasn't left out, but he felt like he had to do some damage control, especially with Lauren and Jamie, who were former tribe members of Ratu with Kane. And his way of doing it with Jamie was to tell her, like, hey, listen, like, I just wasn't feeling comfortable about Kane. Like, I wanted to work with him, but he told me about your idol. And she was like, oh wow, I can't believe that. Which, it's funny because it was actually Carson who told everybody else about Jamie's idol. Jamie then wants to try and decide whether or not she should just come clean about this idol that she had. The fake idol, by the way. It wasn't a real idol. It was just fake, all made up by Matthew. Matthew had to be sitting back just cackling laughing as he's watching this episode from all the stuff he set up. We were robbed of Matthew leaving from a medevac with the shoulder. Matthew was going to be an incredible player. I hope he gets a chance to play again. Just don't climb any rocks this time, Matthew. But she kind of debates on whether or not she should come clean about that. We then jump into a reward challenge for tacos and letters from home. Starts off with kind of that spinning thing that they do where they have to wind in a rope. It makes them all dizzy. They had to go across the cargo net and then a balance beam. And eventually there was one of those big archways. It's not really an arch, but a beam that's raised up top that they had to shoot the balls up and land them on top of them. Frannie does really well. So does Danny, but as kind of the theme of this so far, Frannie and Danny, the two best competitors. But Danny just finishing just behind Frannie, and she ends up winning. She takes Carolyn, Lauren, and Heidi with her because all of them are moms. So she kind of wanted to let them get the letters from home because it would mean the most to them. Probably not the best strategic group to take with, but if she was going for the whole idea of being a social game and trying to make some more connections, it definitely was kind of a good way to go. Meanwhile, back at camp, we had Jam, Daniel, Jamie, and Carson, who were kind of left behind. And they all talk about, hey, listen, like, if Frannie doesn't win immunity, she just won another challenge. She's really good at these competitions. We have to take her out. So they all kind of agree on that. Meanwhile, they're also kind of worrying about Carolyn not being on board. At least Jam is very worried about this because he's like, listen, she might not want to vote out Frannie. Like, she's not going to like this. So Danny comes up with the idea like, hey, why don't we just use Jamie's idol, right? We can tell her that we're trying to flush that. And Jamie's like, well, listen, I got to tell you guys, I got to tell you, Kane actually had it because of the whole like knowledge is power thing. We weren't sure. So I had gotten Lauren's vote and then he got my idol and then he was voted out with the idol. No one believes her. No one believes her for a minute, which I'm kind of surprised also that Lauren didn't really defend her that much with it. Like, she ended up telling everybody later on and nobody bought it then either. But it didn't seem like Lauren even really supported her in that. So that was kind of interesting. Then we move on to what was going on at the reward safe haven, whatever they called the sanctuary. That's what it was. And we saw them getting their letters and they actually all come up with the idea eventually about talking some game. And they were like, oh yeah, like we could all work together. And Carolyn throws out Danny's name. Even Heidi, who seemed to be kind of Danny's number one, ends up kind of on board with it. And seems like it should be a good way for them all to go. But that then leads us to the immunity challenge, which was one of those ones where they have to like tie them all together, right? Their ankles are tied together, their arms are tied together, and they have to like wiggle like worms through the sand, get over different hills and obstacles, and then eventually do a puzzle. Danny does extremely well at the first part, but gets stuck at the puzzle. Frannie does really well too, but also isn't as great at the puzzle. And Carson just kind of crushes the puzzle, except for the last piece. He had a little bit of a scare there where it seemed like maybe he wasn't going to be able to finish the puzzle correctly, but he does end up winning. And when we get back to camp, it seems like Danny and Franny's names are the ones being thrown out right away. And rightfully so. They're the two best competition players left in the game. If you can get out either one of them right now because they don't have immunity, you have to take that shot. And then there was a little bit of names being thrown out for Jamie to kind of split and maybe flush the idol if they have to as well. But for some reason, Jam Jam and Carson, they really think that Jamie is a big threat. And I guess it's just really about the idol that she potentially had, a fake idol, by the way, which she doesn't even have anymore. And they both kind of agree that, like, if they go with Frannie, though, it's not going to be good with Carolyn. Carolyn and Frannie have gotten really close, and they don't want to really go against her because if they do and vote out Frannie, it might push Carolyn away and she might not want to work with them moving forward. Meanwhile, Danny, who was trying to set up the whole Frannie vote in the first place, he ends up messing up with Heidi. So he goes to Heidi and he says, listen, like, I think the vote's going to be Frannie. I don't even need your vote. Like, if you don't feel comfortable with it, you don't have to do it. Like, you can vote somewhere else. And that gets her a little bit worried because she's like, wait a minute, who does he have on board for Frannie that he doesn't feel like he would need my vote? She ends up telling this to Carolyn, which then causes even more chaos. Carolyn goes into full-on panic mode. She's like, wait, why? This doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't he need Heidi involved? Who's in on this? So Frannie ends up getting Jamie, Lauren, and, Carolyn gets Frannie, Jamie, and Lauren together. And they end up coming with an idea of, why don't we vote Heidi? Which is funny because they wouldn't even know about the Frannie thing if it wasn't for Heidi telling her in the first place. Then Carolyn goes to Carson and Jam Jam separately to kind of, see if they can get on board. Both of them don't seem 100% on board, but are kind of like, well, sure, why not? So it really was going to come down to tribal of like, what's going to happen here? Will it be one of the obvious choices of Danny or Frannie? Will it be a blindside on Heidi? Will Jamie end up getting voted out because they all think she has an idol? Like, how is this actually going to play out? Once we get to tribal, Jeff says that Frannie was going full tilt Boogie. Okay. And Frannie's like, yeah, you know what? I was going full tilt Boogie in that challenge. And really all this ends up doing is just painting a bigger target on Frannie's back about her winning the challenges and being very good at them. Danny even has a really good pitch. He's like, yeah, you know what? The greats are great because they win and then they keep on going and they keep on sticking around even when they don't win. Maybe we shouldn't let that happen, right, guys? And yeah, it just was really kind of all pointing the finger at Frannie. But then we also got Jamie, who decided to tell her whole story about the idol and Kane getting voted out with it, which Kane did not help her at all. She's telling this story and they pan over to Kane and Kane's just like, yeah, what? Like, he didn't give a smile, a nod, nothing to make them think like, oh yes, this is a true story. She gave him the idol, which again, Lauren, I thought, knew about it, at least last week when they had the plan to kind of move the advantages around in case of knowledge is power. But it didn't seem like Lauren is really supporting her as much. Maybe she is, and we just didn't see it, and they still don't believe it, but it is what it is. We then move on to the actual vote, and no idols were played, no shot in the dark or anything like that, and ended up being Frannie, who was voted out with 4 votes. 2 votes ended up going on Heidi. That was Frannie and Carolyn. And then 1 vote for Danny, which ended up being Heidi. And that was really interesting because when the votes ended up coming out, I was like, wait a minute, there were 2 for Heidi and 1 for Danny. Like, who was that other vote that got mixed in there? And when I realized it was Heidi, that was really surprising because the two of them are so close. But maybe she was just kind of throwing it out there just because she knew it wasn't going to be him and just to mess with the numbers and make people think she was really with them. I'm not sure what her play was there. But overall, the chaos going in that tribal of potentially being a Heidi blindside, maybe being Danny or maybe being Frannie was all really good. But at the end of the day, when you have a shot at either Frannie or Danny, who are the two best competition players, Frannie being the best one thus far, you had to take that shot and take her out. If she were to stay, she was going to win more immunity idols. She was going to win probably into the final 3. And then once she's there, she would have just had a really good case to win. Plus, with a locked in vote with, you can see we've added our jury down there. She would have a locked in vote with Matt. That's somebody that would 100% have voted for her over everyone else. And that alone puts a big target on you. Because if you can say, like, yeah, you know what, she has at least one vote, that's one less vote than I'm going to have at that final 3. So you want to try and get rid of those people as soon as you can. So yeah, it ended up being Frannie who was voted out. What did you guys think of the episode? Do you think getting rid of Frannie was a good idea? Should they have done the blind side on Heidi? Should they have went with Danny? What do you think is going to happen moving forward here? Because Carolyn's not going to be happy with Frannie leaving. We even saw that in the coming next time little teaser that she was not happy with Jam Jam and Carson going against her there. But I think overall she's going to know it's in her best interest to keep working with them moving forward. So we'll see how that all plays out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, so you never miss a video, you never miss a stream. We were live actually watching this over on Kick. So make sure you check out the description and the pinned comment down below for all of my socials, things like my Twitter, my Twitch, my Discord, and the new Kick stream. So go check that out. Go follow that so you can watch along with us. It's always a pretty good time. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you next time.